King Charles has gone from a confused young man to the nation's grandfather thanks to his love and support from wife Camilla, a royal expert has claimed. Speaking in a special episode of Palace Confidential to celebrate the monarch's 75th birthday next month, Richard Kay shared how Charles has become very comfortable in his skin. Prince of Wales as he then was a confused man. He was constantly competing with his wife, Princess Diana, and unsure of himself he was often being criticized in public. That the king he is today? He's a man much more comfortable in his skin in large part because of his marriage to Queen Camilla. Mr. Kay also touched on how Charles was once seen as too politically outspoken, but can now look back with some satisfaction that many of the views that he held 30 years ago are now very mainstream and have wide public support. However, Charles' first year as king has been dominated by the issues of Harry, Meghan and Andrew. I think that's going to go on. I think what's interesting is what his response has been, Mr. Kay added. He has remained stoically silent, indeed almost impervious to many statements and remarks that have come out of California, and I think that will continue. He is becoming, I think, what he wants to be, which is the nation's grandpa. It was always going to be such a difficult act to follow after the Queen. Daily Mail's royal editor Rebecca English added that senior members of royal staff have told the king would be the first to admit that he made mistakes in his personal life in the past. She added, but should he be expected to pay for those mistakes for the rest of time on earth? Time is a healer and people have come to accept the man that he is. He's in a much happier place personally and that seeps into his professional life. King Charles and soon-to-be Queen Camilla have had a rollercoaster of a relationship since they first met at a polo match in Windsor Great Park in 1970. After what seemed to be an extended bachelorhood, the then Prince Charles married Princess Diana in 1981 in a televised ceremony watched by millions, whereas Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973. After high-profile divorces and royal scandal, Charles and Camilla appeared together publicly for the first time a year after Diana's death and were finally married in 2005 in a civil ceremony at Windsor Guildhall with just 28 guests. During her 2022 Platinum Jubilee celebrations, Queen Elizabeth II announced that the then Duchess of Cornwall would be made Queen Consort when Charles was king, a title she subsequently assumed upon the late Queen's death in September 2022. Camilla's public image has been transformed after she was initially cast as the third person in Diana, Princess of Wales, and Charles' marriage, before becoming a campaigning member of the monarchy prepared to serve the nation. It took time for the nation to warm to the future queen following Diana's death in 1997, and when Camilla wed Charles in 2005, the subject of her future title was a point of contention. At the time, palace guidance said she would only ever be known as Princess Consort, until Queen Elizabeth II ended years of uncertainty over the issue by assuring Camilla's future status in an historic Platinum Jubilee statement. In her surprise announcement in February 2022, Her late Majesty declared it was her sincere wish for her daughter-in-law to be fully acknowledged upon Charles becoming king. And the first clue that the king's long-held dream of having his wife crowned queen at his side was finally to be realized came in the wording of the coronation invitation itself. The coronation of their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla. Officials released an image of the elaborately illustrated invitation last night that will be sent out later this month to 2,000 guests who have secured a much-coveted place at Westminster Abbey on May 6. Asked about the title, when the accompanying press release itself still referred to Camilla as the Queen Consort, a senior royal aide confirmed, it made sense to refer to Her Majesty as the Queen Consort in the early months of His Majesty's reign, to distinguish from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Camilla as the appropriate title to set against King Charles on the invitation. The coronation is an appropriate time to start using Queen Camilla in an official capacity. All former queen consorts have been known as Queen plus their first name. It's a stark contrast to how Camilla was viewed in the early years of her and Charles' relationship, with even the late queen initially wanting nothing to do with her. Just 12 months after the crash in Paris in which Princess Diana was killed, Charles went to see his mother, looking for approval and support for his relationship with Camilla, then Mrs. Parker Bowles. It was not a happy meeting. As a highly placed royal confidant told the Daily Mail then, the Queen told her son she never wanted to talk about that wicked woman, and wanted nothing to do with her. However, the late monarch personally endorsed Queen Camilla in the end, accepting Charles' former mistress as a respected member of the firm. Meanwhile, the Daily Mail was the first to reveal back in December that the palace planned to drop the word consort from Camilla's title, organically, this year. This was confirmed by the Mail on Sunday in February, when it reported that she would be referred to as Queen after the coronation. The change, once unthinkable, sets the seal on a remarkable transformation for Camilla in the nation's affections. When she married the then Prince of Wales in 2005 in a civil ceremony, which Queen Elizabeth declined to attend, it was announced that Camilla intended to be known as Princess Consort when her husband acceded to the throne. The use of the word intended was designed to give royal aides room for maneuver, but at the time many still blamed her for the breakdown of Charles's marriage to Diana, Princess of Wales. Since then, however, Camilla, 75, has won many over with her warmth, sense of humor, lack of complaining and work championing the victims of domestic violence, as well as the promotion of literacy. One royal insider said last night, His Majesty has always seen it as a matter of honor. He is king, so, therefore, it follows that his wife should be queen. It's rather like telling someone they can't be known as Mrs. So-and-so. It's entirely up to them whether to choose to be called that, but it's still fundamentally their right to do so. Single quote.